Hey everybody, Craig here, and today I'm just about to do some upgrade activity on my oVirt cluster. So 4.3.8 is out, and I've been meaning to upgrade for a while. My cluster is currently on 4.3.7, and as you can see here, I've got 3 hosts in this particular cluster. 2 of them are capable of running the hosted engine, and we've got a third host here which is supposed to be able to run the hosted engine, but we don't have the nice little crown icon. So I just wanted to show you how to deal with that. So if we go and have a look in the events themselves look all right. You might see something like can't run the hosted engine because of the score, or something like that. So we'll take a little look at what the symptoms are and how to fix it. So the first thing I'm going to do is take a look at my host console. So if I log in over here, and then if we go straight to logs, we're going to see a ton of error messages here around the host for the oVirt HA agent service. And basically what it's trying to do is connect on the iSCSI side of things to the place where the hosted engine storage is. It's trying to get a lease on that. It's trying to make sure that it can read the file system. In this particular case, it can't. Now, I know that I've done some maintenance recently on this cluster and I actually had to do this exact procedure to Osiris here, which is why I'm now doing a video for it. But so the activity that I did on the cluster ended up causing a whole heap of problems for me. I started doing a test for the iSCSI multipathing, and instead of trying it on the networks that were VLAN, I was trying to pull it back to un-VLAN again, because that was previously the configuration that worked, right? So I figured, yeah, let's do it. Yeah, man, it did not work. And I ended up spending about 3 hours putting things back. But one of the kind of side effects was the hosted the oVirt HA agent wasn't particularly happy on these 2 hosts. It wasn't Persephone, but Persephone was a clean install. So it was just Haven and Osiris. So I cleared up Osiris, and I thought I'd just show you Haven. So what I'm going to do, so if we look at the logs again, you can see oVirt HA agent, and if we even drop into the terminal and do maybe a systemctl status oVirt HA agent, let's have a little look. You can see this here that the service is crashing. You can see here oVirt HA agent.service failed, and it seems to be doing it on a regular basis. So it seems to come up like so and then crash again. If we do a quick ls block just to have a look at what block devices we've got attached, we can see that there are some block devices attached for our storage domains, but for some reason they're not. It doesn't seem to be the hosted engine domain. If we do iSCSI ADM nodes P1 just to see node P1 just to see which portals are there, we can see that 250.2 is trying to connect on the default interface and not on a VLAN, and 251.2 is also trying to connect on the default interface. So there's 2 things I'm going to do here. Because I know that I messed around with my iSCSI configuration and multipathing, I'm going to go over to the interfaces directory here and just make sure that these are updated. So I'm running ENS 1F4 here. This actually should be 1F4.150 because I've switched over to that storage VLAN for this interface. And what I'll do is just update that, and the iFace is, and I'm just going to change the name of this as well. If I quickly dip into the other one, so the 2 settings I'm changing here, one is the iSCSI interface name and the other is the network interface name. I'm not 100% sure on how they need to be related. However, I'm finding that if you change both of them, you probably should. It seems keeping it consistent seems to be the way forward with this. Certainly if I go and do that, oops, of course I didn't go and change it, did I? I'm finding that whenever the system is being automatically configured and the configurations applied, it's working quite nicely. and it comes out in this way. So if I go ahead and just modify this as well, oops, var lib iscsi ifaces ens d1.151. There we go, move that across, and then I'm just going to restart iscsi. So I'm restarting iscsi just so that it picks up the new interface names and node names and how they're kind of bound to each other. I'm not an iscsi expert, so I might be doing something that is totally pointless, but it seems to have an effect at least. Certainly when it comes to which nodes are connecting on which or trying to connect on which interfaces. So if we take a look at the nodes again, so we can see that in this particular case, we've got 251 is trying to connect down this ENS1F4 interface, which I didn't really want to see. And 250.2 is trying to connect down the same interface. I'm not too fussed about the default. That'll come out. It won't connect anyway because it's a non-routable network. So I'm not too worried about that. Let's have now a little look at the sessions. So no active sessions. In fact, I'll tell you what, let's try restarting the VDSM as well. So if we restart VDSMD, that tends to try to reconnect the variety of storage, any storage domains and stuff that you've got before the oVirt HA agent does its thing. So if we have a look at the sessions, okay, no active sessions yet. Let's just go back over here and just validate that the network configuration has been applied. So I'm expecting VLAN 150 on this interface and 151 over here. And yep, that's what we're seeing. Okay, so the host itself is up and it's well, it's in maintenance mode actually. Let's see if it'll connect. Let's see if it activates. I don't think it will. It was caught in a bit of a activation loop. So it was going up, but it wasn't actually finishing the activation, but it has. Okay, so let's take a look at the sessions we got. Okay, so we got two sessions. I wasn't expecting to see this. So I wonder, I'm just going to check in another tab to see if I've done something silly like made these routable. I shouldn't have done. But I have done silly things in the past. So if I go over here, no, they don't exist in the router, so that's fine. Okay, so if we go back over here, take a look at sessions, we've got two sessions. We can see that the host has come back up, but we still don't have this hosted agent. So let's have a little look at the hosted agent. So over HA agent. Okay, so this is still crashing. And if we take a look at the logs for this, so it's var log oVirt var log, yeah, over hosted engine HA agent.log. And then if we go to the bottom here, so what's this complaining about? So it's complaining about, here we go, it can't start the monitor because there's no such file or directory. So it looks like it's the broker that's might be having a problem here. From what I've seen, this tends to be a network connectivity failure, but it could just be related in this case to it not being able to connect to the storage. So I'll tell you what, I'm just going to double check my host file to make sure that we've got the right entries here. So the ones that I care about are Persephone, Haven, and Osiris. So they all are there, and they've got the correct DNS names, which is good. And we've got the oVirt hosted engine itself. Okay, so that's all good. So this is loosely what I was expecting to see, and the behavior I was expecting to see. We'll just double check the broker to be on the safe side. In fact, systemctl restart over HA agent and over HA broker, I think. Yeah, there we go. And take a little look at the latest logs. So the broker's trying to connect to the storage server. And let's block. Oh, we got a few more storage devices attached, but again, that's more to do with the data stores that we've just mounted there. Systemctl status over HA agent. Let's have a little look at, yeah, so the agent's still crashing. So the way that I resolved this last night was if you put your host into maintenance, I mean, obviously if you're happy that your host isn't running the hosted engine or it can't, then there's absolutely no problem. The host is going to perform, it's going to do exactly what it's supposed to do. In fact, you can see here that it's literally just there's literally just been a VM migrated onto it where things are balanced, so we've just migrated that off again. But if you do care about having the ability to run the hosted engine, then you're going to need to go ahead and reinstall it. So take your host into maintenance mode, and then all we're going to do is go to installation and hit reinstall. Now, when you go and do this, you've got a few options here. You don't need to worry about reconfiguring the authentication or anything like that. I tend not to activate the host after install, just so I can go and validate the network connectivity and a couple of other bits. The network provider, you don't need to change that. But hosted engine, so we're gonna do a hosted engine action here, and we're gonna say deploy. And what that'll do is it'll go ahead and it'll run the Ansible playbooks. I believe it's Ansible that actually go and set up the hosted engine for us. So if there's any configuration differences, and it usually is configuration differences, this is going to go ahead and tidy it up for us. So we'll go ahead and we'll do this, and then we'll come back and see where we're at, and hopefully we'll be able to do the upgrade. Okay, so our host has been installed. That was quite quick, actually. I'm a little bit surprised. So by the way, if you're wondering why you can now see me in the corner, you can blame Chris for that. So Chris, I finally sorted out my green screen for you. I ended up moving offices from the room upstairs to our dining room. So rather than seeing all the junk that's behind me, we've now got a green screen again, eventually. At least until I finally get an office sorted. But anyway, so that's a bit of a tangent. Probably didn't care about that. We've now got our host back, and if I go ahead and activate it, what I'm expecting to see here is, although we don't have the crown, it takes a little while anyway for the crown to reappear. So let's just have a little looky here. It's still failing. Is that just failing because it's been in maintenance mode? Because our host is back. No. So we successfully reinstalled. I wonder if maybe we need to do a reboot. Yeah, let's do a reboot. Reboot fixes everything, right? If in doubt, turn it off and on again. So we'll come back when that's reboot again. Hey everybody, so I'm back. It's a new day, as you can see. What I did was I rebooted this host and left it to go overnight, and it's back. It's happy, it's up. So we're ready to start the upgrade. So upgrading inside of oVirt, we'll just update the hosts for now. Is dead easy. So if you go into, where did I see it? Into the cluster, and then you can see here, if we highlight the cluster we want to upgrade and just press upgrade. And what it'll do is it'll give us a dialog box here that's asking us to select which hosts we want to upgrade. So we're going to select all of them. And we're going to, we want to stop any VMs that are pinned to the host. Yeah, that's fine. We want the upgrade to time out after 60 minutes. It shouldn't take that long. We don't want to check for upgrades on the host because we already know that there's one there, and we do want to do a reboot after that, after the upgrade is completed. And we will use cluster maintenance as well. So if we then hit next, it's gonna tell us what it's about to do. So here it is telling us that we're going to be upgrading one host at a time, and 3 hosts are going to be upgraded. So relatively straightforward. So if I hit upgrade, actually it's probably worth shouting out that I don't typically do my upgrades this way. I tend to do them host by host, just so I've got a little bit of control over things. So it's my first time really trying this out. So we'll see what happens. So I was actually expecting to see, there we go. This is exactly what I was expecting to see, just a task there. So we can see that it's moving the first host, so this is Haven, into maintenance mode. And it's going to migrate the VMs off that. So we'll go ahead and we'll let this complete, and then we'll come back and see where we're at. Alrighty, so if we take a little look at what's going on here, we can see that our host has been upgraded and it's gone for a reboot. So hopefully any time now, we should see this host come back up. So it looks like the hosted agent portion of things is healthy, weirdly. So I'll tell you what, let's try and drop into the host console and see what's going on. Okay, yeah. So for some reason, it's still showing that the thing can run the hosted engine, even though the host is down. And trying to hit this here, the host is clearly down. So I'll tell you what, we'll go back here and just wait for everything to complete. So we'll be back shortly. Alrighty, so we can see that the host has come back up now and it's trying to activate itself. So if we just go back over here, so we can see it's up. And if I go back to cockpit and drop into cockpit, we can see that our host version is now 4.3.8, up from 4.3.7. So that's good. That means the upgrade is stuck. So let's just have a little look and see if we've got... Okay, so we're still seeing hosted HA agent failures. I'm expecting them to disappear. The over HA agent does tend to take a little while to reconnect storage and do all the other bits and pieces that it has to do, including syncing configuration. This host itself is still activating, so I'm not too concerned about that at this point. We'll just wait for this to finish activating. You can see our workload's still all running, everything's happy. The system is in fact trying to balance one of the IPA hosts here. So I've got a host affinity rule. So each one of these needs to be on separate physical hosts. That was actually dead easy to set up as well. If you go into, I can't remember how I set it up now. But if I go into one of these, we've got Affinity Groups. I created a new affinity group called IPA host separation, and I've literally gone in here and said these virtual machines need to not be on the same, so negative affinity rule, they need to be not on the same host. Right, okay, so we got a little bit of an issue here. It looks like Haven hasn't activated. So I'm curious what's going to happen with the upgrade. Okay, so the upgrade is still running. It's still waiting to do things. Let's have a little look at what's going on with Haven. Got to admit, I didn't expect it to have any kind of issues here. So it's saying that it can't connect to the storage pool. So let's take a little look at the network configuration. We'll just make sure that we've got our 2 VLANs there, which we have, 250 and 251. They're assigned to the correct VLANs on the... 150 and 151. They're assigned to the correct interfaces, so that's good. Let's drop into over here and we'll just again have, so this is the host that we were having issues with yesterday. So the portals and all of that is okay. There's no issues with that. Let's have a look at what the HA agent is complaining about. VI var log oVirt hosted engine HA. And then if we go for the agent. Oh. Okay, so this looks like it's waiting for the broker to start. In fact, let me just double check what so the host file is fine. That's what I expected to see. And then if we take another look at the resolvers, just to make sure that DNS is in the right configuration, it should be, because we haven't changed anything here, and it is. The search domain is probably something I want to change in future there, but it's not a now problem. Let's take a little look at the broker. So the broker is trying to connect to the storage server. So we do have the management bridge has come up. Tell you what, let's try restarting it. System CTL, restart, VDSMD, oVirt HA agent, oVirt HA broker. Push. So we'll restart these three services and see what happens on the other side. Do a little refresh of the capabilities there. So refresh capabilities actually is quite nice because it proves whether or not your management plane is working correctly. This one fails, but that's probably because I'm in the process of restarting the VDSM service. So if we follow this, and then I'll go and do the refresh capabilities again. If it'll allow me, it will not. Okay, it's because it's trying to activate it. Now I can refresh capabilities. Whoops. So interestingly, it looks like it's treating this host as up and healthy, even though. So I mean, it's moving the IPA service across here. So I'm curious what it's going to do next, whether it's going to be intelligent enough to know that there were some issues, because we can clearly see that the oVirt HA agent hasn't come back up yet. Or whether it's going to, because it still thinks it's upgrading Haven. So it's successfully moved some workload onto it, so the host itself is working. I'm curious what it considers to be still upgrading here. Yeah, so we got some sessions. We don't have. Oh, I wonder if the iSCSI config has drifted again. Yeah, it has. I wonder why that is. Let's just give that a cheeky bounce. And then we'll do the same again for VDSM, the H agent, and the HA broker. Just giving it a little bit of a love tap to see if we can move it along a bit. Oh, it's not looking good if this is the first host that we're having issues with. Hopefully the other ones are a little bit happier. Right, so let's follow this. Yeah. So we're still seeing the oVirt HA agent errors. Let's have a little looky look. If I do refresh capabilities, okay, one more thing to try here. Hosted engine storage connect. What this sorry, connect storage. So what I'm hoping, oh, connect. Oh, I have not had enough coffee this morning. So what I'm hoping this is going to do is kind of make sure that the storage is connected properly and that everything is nice and happy. I kind of have a bit of a feeling that where I've been messing around with iSCSI multipathing, there's a piece of configuration somewhere that is not up to date. And so when it goes through this process, it reapplies broken configuration. But I expected the hosted engine to take care of that and the VDSM process itself. I didn't expect to have to kind of manually deal with that. So I reckon this is going to time out. I don't think this is going to mount properly. Maybe need to disconnect it first. Yeah, so weirdly the disconnect is timing out as well. Okay, well, I'm going to let this disconnect. I think I'm going to reboot this host again just to see if I can get things working again. In fact, I'll do that now. Let's reboot it. And then we'll come back to this a bit later. Alrighty, so the upgrades have finished now across all of our different hosts. It wasn't quite as smooth a ride as I was expecting it was going to be. I had to go and actually just tell it to do the upgrade on each of the hosts anyway. So I had to so I got into a situation where after the first Haven host was upgraded, it was, for all intents and purposes, it was upgraded, and I was hoping that a reboot was going to help with that. It just never seemed to acknowledge that it had been upgraded. So I ended up having to go and restart the hosted engine itself. Now, I don't know if that's a bug just in 4.3.7 for the hosted engine or not, but that's where we are. What I ended up doing was going and running the upgrade utility again, just on the remaining two hosts, so on Osiris and Persephone. Now, that was a bit strange as well because it completed on Osiris, but it didn't actually show that there was an upgrade task in progress. Same for Persephone, and I don't know if that was just a hangover from the task that was going for Haven or not. But it wasn't as smooth or as streamlined as I maybe would have hoped for. But all in all, it worked. You at least can script or do them one host at a time, and it was doing the right things. It was migrating the VMs away, it was putting it into maintenance mode, it was upgrading the host, it was rebooting it via SSH and then waiting for it to come back up and then reintroducing it to the cluster. So all in all, it actually worked all right. So I'm fairly happy with that. So the next thing that we need to go and do is, if I take us over to the oVirt hosted engine, here's one I prepared earlier. We're going to go ahead and do the upgrade on this. Now, I'm going to refer to documentation for this because it's been a little while. However, the first thing that we're going to want to do here is engine backup. What this is going to do is literally just take a snapshot of your database so that if you need to restore it, if something really bad goes on, then you can get to it. It's not a case of being able to snapshot it. There's probably a way to do a KVM snapshot or something like that and then restore the snapshot from CLI if you really needed to. But I'm going to do a backup just in case, and then you can restore the database back and job's good. All right, so we want to do an upgrade. So I think what we're doing here is engine upgrade check. So I am actually going to go off to the side here and just do oVirt .org. So I'm hoping that because we're on the 4.3 repo chain, this is going to tell me that 4.3.8 is available. I'm not expecting it to tell me anything about 4.4. I wouldn't, because that's in alpha, it's not stable yet. And we haven't updated the repos. Yeah, there we go. So there's an upgrade available. These are the upgrade package, the packages that we can upgrade. So it's showing us that we can move up to 4.3.8. So I think we're going to do that. And we're going to do that, if memory serves me. It's not with that, it's documentation, upgrade guide, updates between minor releases. All right, so if I bring this across, okay, so we've run the engine upgrade check, and then we're going to do yum update oVirt setup. So we're literally going to, where's my SSH window? There it is. Yum update oVirt. So literally anything with oVirt in the name. Oh, sorry, oVirt setup. Nearly did that wrong. And then this should pull down these packages for us. So what it looks like we're doing here is we update the setup, the install utilities, and then we use those to then go ahead and update hosted engine for us. It looks like I may have done this the wrong way around actually with the upgrade. It looks like I'm supposed to have done the hosted engine first, judging by the documentation there. So perhaps if you do it the right way around, your mileage will be a bit better. All right, so if we do hosted engine setup, so I'm expecting it to have already picked up the answers based on the original installation. I'm not expecting to need to input anything. So hopefully I remember to put the cluster into global maintenance mode, because it does complain about that. So I'm quickly going to check virtualization, hosted engine. Excellent, we're still in maintenance mode. So if I go back to our SSH window, yes, I wish to update them now. Yes, I want to configure the firewall. Yes, I want to take a backup of the database. Yes, I want to do a vacuum. Yes, I want to do a full vacuum on the engine database. Here, the previous one was the history database. So engine service is going to be stopped. Okay. So it's worth saying that this is not going to interrupt your workflow, your workload. So if you've got VMs that are currently running, they're not going to be interrupted by this. This is just the hosted engine that's taking maintenance at this point. It does mean if you need to go ahead and start any additional workloads, or if you've got some kind of crazy Ansible driven auto scaling or something like that, you're not going to be able to do that at this point. But the outage itself is only for a few minutes of the hosted engine. So actually it's acceptable. I mean, there's some natural caveats there about doing this during production hours. You may or may not want to do it. It depends on your workload and kind of your tolerance for risk. If anybody's actually interested in seeing the source code for this as well, it's all on GitHub. So if you go to github.com/oVirt, there's actually some quite nice things. But if you want to see, say, the web interface, maybe you want to tweak it or change it or something, you can do that here. So if you want to change or update the portal, there you go. That's where you can do it. It's interestingly possible to run it as a standalone container. That seems quite like it could be quite useful. But yeah, the code's all here, so you can have a little bit of a poke around. This is the engine. So this is the actual thing that manages your cluster, and this is the VDSM. So this is the equivalent of it's like an agent that runs on the host and controls it. It's a virtual desktop server manager. That's what they call it. So this we expect because we're doing the upgrade. And if we go back yeah, we can see here it's doing the backup of the databases for us. So it's already gone through and done the engine history database. I don't have a lot running, so these aren't going to be particularly big. But if you've got something that, you know, if you've got quite a large estate, this is going to take a bit longer, especially while it cleans stuff up. I like doing any kind of maintenance in a single window if I can really avoid it, just for a bit of, well, cleanliness, really, because I know I'm really bad at doing this maintenance any other time, so it makes sense. So we're nearly there. It's doing the post install config, starting the engine back up. Here we go. Things are coming back up. That's what I like to see. There we go. Alrighty. So in theory, we should, if I reload this page, it should ask us to log in again because we've got a new session now. And it's Java, so it'll take a little bit of time. There we go. All right. So if I log in as my admin user, there we go, and we're back. And if we go ahead here and just prove the version that we're now on, 4.3.8, so we've done a successful upgrade here of both our oVirt hosts, so each of the individual compute hosts, and also the engine as well. So hopefully that was interesting. If you liked it, do you like, subscribe, give us a comment. Let me know what you thought. If you didn't, again, drop me a comment. Let me know what you thought. And if there's any better ways or anything that you think that I could probably have improved here, let me know. Any feedback is always appreciated. Anyway, thank you very much, everybody. Have a great day and speak to you soon. Bye-bye.